welcome to the Escape with Nick and Adam. Sorry we're running a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties, but it happens because that's just the way of the world with technology. But my name is Nick.
And I'm Adam.
And we have our friend of the show back once again, Nate from Night of the Chihuahuas. How you doing, Nate?
Doing good. Also, Pork Chop Express, because we will go beyond.
I get some shirts. I get our
yes.
Woo! We're trying to get Austin on. I know we have a little bit of issue. I'm not sure if he's still trying or not, but we're at least going to talk about Austin and his comic book, and at least try and help him out as much as we can. But let's get into it. So it's all indies tonight. Nate, how is Night of the Chihuahuas going?
I don't remember when last time we touched base, so I can't even try to compare. But we just we've moved forward on several fronts. We got into 4 shops in Minneapolis. We just got the Kickstarter moved ahead actually today and have an actual plot for that. We picked up the DJ Kerchek reprint. The reprint, our second print of issue 1, and these will be going out this weekend. It's hard to think when you put me on the spot.
It was so easy. It's so funny because we were just talking about, like, remember we were talking earlier, we're gonna say when we were talking before the show, things just flow. But because I know you said you guys just got stuff together for issue 3, because you had enough for, was it issue like 2.5?
So we have
summer.
Issue 3 is completed, and the plan is to, I guess this is what you're asking me. We want to release a Kickstarter for issue 1 at a smaller amount.
Okay.
Hopefully reaching that goal easily, and then using Kickstarter as a means to actually market beyond what we've done. We recently got quite a few more Instagram followers. We did a cute dog contest. I re-released some images, and we're climbing that way.
I just want to say I did not want to put my dog Blue in the competition because I just didn't want to win. That's the only reason I didn't enter. I thought about it. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'll just win, so I'll let someone else win this time, because clearly I have the cutest dog. So.
Yes, of course. Well, it's almost impossible. How do you judge a cute dog?
It's like a cute baby contest.
There'd be a bloodbath. Like, my dog is cuter than yours. So reaching out as far as marketing. So we want to do issue 1 small. Hopefully that's successful. Move on to releasing issue 2 through Kickstarter, and this will help us to gain some money back to finish the series. So then we increase our reach a little bit with issue 2, and then when we release issue 3, it'll be fresh. And we're hoping to do this in quick succession. So we have an artist, and I don't want to speak too much, but he is supposed to be starting November 1st. I'm not going to say names, because if it doesn't go, I don't want to feel like a fool.
Because everybody will go back to this video and be like, what a fool Nate was for having hope in his project.
Your name is Fulio. But this guy, we got in touch with him actually through DJ Kerchek, and he's from California. Great guy. His art is awesome. He has his own series that is super cool. I mean, hopefully, if we get rolling, we can pop that into another conversation down the road. But he's currently on vacation in New York, and when he gets back, we're going to sign the papers and ready to roll November 1st. So
I can see why Todd McFarlane would not want you talking about this.
Why?
Well, that's your artist, I'm assuming, right? He's on
No,
vacation. He's got his own independent thing. It's something I'm just goofing around.
Yeah,
But
Todd's got a lot of spare time, so
no. But
yeah,
this is great. This is great news. This is a lot has happened since the last time we talked. Then.
Well, it's funny because it kind of falls in tiers, and I get so frustrated. I get, I feel like things aren't working out, and then it just kind of breaks free sometimes. And I think that's been one of the key things in this is like learning patience and communication, because a lot of artists are just different people. They're different types of people. So learning to work with people, finding healthy boundaries, and then just picking this up today, like this actual physical copy and having it in my hand. I contacted the printer yesterday. He said, "Oh, there was a problem." I was like, "Oh no."
Not what I need to hear, sir.
No,
yeah, but they had them today. So, so we are making progress. It feels slow sometimes, but it is happening.
Yeah, Nate, and one of the reasons I love having you on, and I love just the relationship that we have, because you are doing something I'm incredibly jealous, but also like I think it's so cool that you are taking literally from soup to bolt. I mean, you are taking something from just your imagination to print to just. And you said earlier that you got into 4 comic shops in Minneapolis, and I think so many people take it for granted when they go into a comic book shop, and they just think that, well, it's a Marvel DC book, of course it got there, but they don't realize how hard it is to get their comic book into a shop in front of, potential viewers. And you just kind of talk about that, just like I you don't have to talk about the last part that we talked about earlier, but about the comic shop in your hometown there, but like, what's it like, really going in and pitching like, hey man, I've got this book, and you love it, and we love it. We're fans of the comic, but how do you make the comic book shop owners, kind of like, yeah, I know we were talking earlier, once again, talking earlier,
I got
about
you.
the pitch, but like
Value.
that's just, I mean, nerve wracking, right?
Yeah. So, Josh and I, and just Josh, if you're watching, congrats on getting a house, bro. That's big. Josh got The Last Ronin #1 graded as a housewarming gift from the crew.
Nice.
So hopefully he puts that on the wall. So getting into shops, there's different ways that I understand. You can, if you get a certain amount of issues done, from what I understand, you can approach a publisher or a distribution company and they can get in with them. I don't feel that we're at that point yet, and I don't want to undersell us. So I will literally go walk into a store, and I'm kind of awkward because I like to get down to business. I don't want to sit there and shoot the breeze for 4 hours,
Right.
So I just kind of walk in and I say, do you guys support indie comics? And it's yes or no answer. So that kind of opens the door. We have a title here. Is the manager or the owner around? And you can get a pretty good gauge if people are receptive or not. Like I was saying before, I went back Midwest, to visit family, and I went to the town where my family is like distilled, like from that area. And there's a comic book shop, and I was like, I want to be in this comic book shop. And I walked in, and the guy like laughed me out, like literally like laughing and telling me to get out of his shop. And wow. I even got to the point where I was like, look, this means a lot to me if I could be in your store. Like, I'll just give you these books. No. He said, no, I don't want a handout. I was like, okay.
Wow,
when we flew back out through Minneapolis, we went the night before, and our flight was late. So my wife was like, let's go hop to a couple of shops. So we went to Hot Comics, and I think Josh is the manager there, different Josh. And he gave me the owner's info and said to call him back. I called the guy back. His name is Mike. And Mike and I had a really good conversation, and it was building value is something that I'm finding is challenging because it's like I see what gain we've ground. I know our flaws, but I went in there and I felt kind of meek, like, okay, we could get you a few copies. And he's like, he ordered like 4 times as much as I was trying to sell him. And I was just like, okay.
Like, was not expecting that. Yeah.
No, and he's going to put us. They have 3 shops, so I mean,
okay.
I count that as 3 shops. If you want to count it as one entity, that's up to you. But we went to another shop, Mind's Eye, and had a really good conversation with Nick and Nora and their owner. Oh, I'm going to mess this up. But this is an indie comic that they're doing called Lake of Tears, and it was actually made in Africa somewhere. And the owner bought it and won some award in America, and they're pushing this title. But they're interested. And then the last place is called Issues Needed. And I want to say Jason was the owner, and I walked in. He was at the counter. It was kind of awkward. I felt like fumbling over my words. And he's like, "Yeah, man, it's cool. Like, let's see what you got." And he just pulled cash out of the drawer and handed it to me. But I'm learning and having these conversations with Josh is like, you're going to get shut down. And we're also in 26 stores in 4 states. So, I mean, we're marching in that direction. We've sold out at multiple stores. We've sold out twice at 2 stores. And now we have, I'm just going to keep plugging this.
No, I would pimp that too, because that covers freaking gorgeous. We got some guys watching. If you have any questions for Nate about indie comics or trying to get your own comic off the ground, we'll pass it off to Nate if he can help you out here. But Nate, one of the hardest things is, to me, there's, once you actually get the book in your hands and actually going in comic book shop to comic book shop, but I don't know if you want to get too much into specifics, but like, how much of a financial investment is it to even get to that point, to get the actual physical, to get a stack of physical comic books in your hands to say, hey, please put this in your shop? Like I said, you can ballpark it if you don't want to get too specific, but this is the stuff that it's just like, it blows my mind, like the things that you have to take into account just to get a comic book even that far.
I'll try to do this. We've been printing mostly with Artist Express. Thank you to Anthony and Anastasia there. Anastasia sent in that image I sent you earlier that we can look at in a little bit, but they've really been working with me on like learning the process, and even like kind of giving suggestions on how to run the Kickstarter. Issues break down on quantities ordered. So you get a price break at like 100, 250, 500, 1000. Josh, in his calculating mind, was like, we need to order 10,000 copies to keep the price down. That's a lot of money.
Hold on. See if we got Austin here. Austin. I hear you, Austin.
Welcome to the escape.
We can see you.
As can we see you? Do you see us?
No.
I'll say we'll give it a shot, but we see him, so let's see.
I just texted him. We see him.
I say we can hear him, so I don't see him trying to talk. So, all right, but we'll let him go for a little bit. But yeah, if you want to finish your point there, Nate.
So Josh, in order to try to bring the cost down on the unit, he wanted to order big, but we realized we don't have. I mean, I think it's somewhere roughly in the thing of like $1.83 a copy if you order 1,000. So what is that? 18 grand.
Yeah, just a little bit of investment there.
My numbers are probably off, but you're looking at like under.
Oh, he's trying to talk. I can't hear him though.
Yeah, Yeah.
We had him for a second.
Austin, can you hear us? We've got a message in our chat. It says my brother Austin Ackert is an artist. Night of the Chihuahuas is awesome.
That's
Thank
from
you,
a
Haley.
Thanks, Haley.
Thank you, Haley. We love it when people communicate and they.
So,
So it's rough. It's like a little over $2 a copy. So what we've been doing is order small quantities. We usually do bags and boards, which we're considering. I mean, you save a little bit. If somebody wants it bagged and boarded, then they can pay for that. But I mean, there is quite a.
Can I mention how big of a? Because I was out of town and
deal.
I say, it is such a big thing to me when either your books come already bagged and board, or when you go into a comic book shop and because one shop I frequent, they actually have membership to, Liberty Comics. Check those guys out; they're good guys. As soon as you put them on the counter, they immediately start bagging boarding. I've been to a couple of newer shops where they don't even like offer the bag and board, and that's such a pet peeve of mine. I was like, come on, man, like it's 2022, like give me the bags and boards. Like I shouldn't. There's certain things like as a comic book, fan or a comic book reader, you shouldn't have to ask for. But that the just they even brought that up. I was like, dude, for me, that's such a huge thing that they come pre-bagged and boarded. So.
Well, but that's the thing. Like we were talking earlier, some people want the artwork.
Right.
Some people want the story. So the people that don't collect and they just want to read the story, well, they don't care about a bag and a board. So
Right.
I've seen whole shops out here that have no bags and boards, and I think they're missing the possibility for that sale of somebody who wants a crispy cover without a bunch of fingerprints on it that hasn't been leafed through 20 times.
Wow.
Well, and that's the thing. I'll tell you right now. Very rarely do I take the front copy. As long as that, I will take the second, third, or fourth book back because I don't want the one that's been flipped through and God knows, But it's 2022. Bad things have happened very recently. I'm not trusting anything. So,
I have a question for you, Nate, if you don't mind. Just because I don't know how this works. Okay, so you say like artists are different types of personalities, and I understand that from my own profession, dealing with people who don't do what I do, but we have to work together kind of anyway. But how do you work out how do you already come on board and say, like in the old days, it's work for hire, I'll pay you $2 a page, something like that? I'm not asking how much it's paid, but how is it structured? Where's that structure come down?
So there's, I guess, like industry standards from what I've learned. And you're going to get what you pay for in some ways. So, I mean, somebody whose price point is lower, $100 a page, might not have that much experience. From what I know, somebody working in the industry is getting paid over like a couple dollars over $260 a page, which was very specific, which I thought was interesting. It's like, oh, wow. Like, what I do, or what we've been doing, which is also very challenging, is you try to enter into like an agreement with this artist, set deadlines. One artist we did half up front for a book, half at the end. That was hard to work in. The artwork was late. We were afraid we were going to lose our investment, but it ended up working out in the end. So what we're doing now, our new plan is to do, and I'll say we're between the $100 to $150 for this new artist page per page. We're going to do five page increments for work. So we're going to break it down that way for 20 pages. There's Austin again.
I hear something, Austin. Are you?
Welcome, Austin.
No.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but it's still.
We got you. We can hear you.
We hear you.
Still black.
Can you hear us?
We see you. We hear you. Just so. All right, we got Austin. Yeah.
Yeah, I like your posters.
Well, at least you can hear me.
Yeah, there's no
I
sense in
can't
putting
see
my
you guys.
there's no sense in putting a thumbs
I
up
feel
if you
so
can't hear me.
bad.
But
It's
no,
because
you're
I have
good.
this piece of crap phone.
All good,
I'm
man.
not
So,
one of the cool computers. Thank you for inviting me onto the podcast, though. Sorry I can't do it right.
no, you're good, man.
Okay, you want me to tell you about Carmine Sunshine?
Yeah, well, we got you
It's
on.
my
Go.
book. It's basically a vampire that gets abducted by aliens and goes on a journey of self-discovery. Let me see if I have it somewhere nearby.
I know, Nate, you
Dang,
got
I
a
don't
copy,
have a
right?
copy anywhere.
You want to pop it up for us?
Yeah, so it's like a 6-book series, and it's all one story. I write it as a. Oh, okay, yeah. If I was gonna write it as one big graphic novel, but I talked to some other artists, local artists, and
Love
they
it.
suggested. Okay,
And
I think Nate's showing it. I
his
can't
comic
see
thing
it, though. It's
is
all black.
Odd Vomit.
Anyway, they suggested cutting it up pieces, so that's what I did.
Okay. So how many issues?
And at first, I was just gonna print it myself, like at a FedEx, but luckily I found a place here that was pretty cheap, and I had to go to the library to scan every page because I don't have a scanner, and then email it to a guy to prep it to get it printed at the printing place. That was a nightmare.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, my hat's off to both of you guys for what you've done in your journeys. This is gold tonight. Gold,
Yeah.
Nicholas.
I'll put up Austin's Instagram real quick. So if you want to reach out to Austin and pick up one of his issues, there's his Instagram right there. Go check.
Do you want me to stay on and just answer questions as you text them, or should I take off, or just let me know what to do? I'm so sorry that I can't see you guys.
Well, I think we'll work on the technical aspect later, but I think we got what we needed. If that's okay, Nate, are we okay? I want to let him go for.
Yep. Thanks for coming on. Tell him
yeah.
we said thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much, Austin. Happy we could get your book out. Hopefully get some people headed your way for you.
All right, I sent him the text. Hopefully, gets through.
Well, what a good show tonight.
I will say that, like this weekend, there's Horror Fest. Austin will be at Horror Fest for a group called Aquatis Comics. I forget the name of the title that they did, but Austin showed it to me. I think they just posted it. It was really cool. I can send a link for that. I'm sorry, I should have had that. We're also going to Horror Fest, and Sophia Cox will be joining us. She's an artist from Denver. Really cool. We actually kind of collaborated on a couple things in the past. She draws pretty ladies, kind of the
who doesn't love that?
the women of Marvel and DC when they look really good and seductive, maybe. So we put a killer Chihuahua in one. I don't know if you want to show that picture.
Oh yeah. Oh, I apologize. Real quick, when is Horror Fest? That's the 21st to 23rd.
21st through October 23rd this weekend at the Phoenix Sheridan Crescent Hotel.
There.
Do you have that image?
Yep, I am grabbing it right now.
All right.
Oh. I had it, and now it's tricky. Got it. That's not it. Give me 1 second. So anyway, give me 1 second. Adam, you got any more questions for Nate real quick?
Actually,
I can finish that thought real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
we're also going to be at a show called AZ ToyCon. And Trent Massey will be joining us out there, another awesome artist. Maybe some of these people will come on and say hi to you guys at some point. But yeah, we're really trying to branch out. After that, we're going to Las Vegas, our first show in Nevada. Oh, that's not it. But surprise, this is
wrong way. There we go.
Yeah, so
we are professionals here.
Who cares?
It wasn't. This is great.
So Sophia Cox, she draws pretty ladies, and she drew this. It was kind of in the vein of Women of Horror. Cora drew a couple covers for us like this, but this is kind of what will be happening at Horror Fest. And then Trent Massey just got hooked up with him through Austin, and he's got a couple of his own titles. So really trying to branch out and meet people and get into the community. And we're doing Las Vegas. That's actually my anniversary, so we're gonna go out to a nice dinner afterwards.
Very nice.
And then we're gonna go. Austin and I are going to Anaheim, which should be. I'm actually kind of excited and scared because like that whole community down there is like supercharged, and they are super positive. We got a lot of feedback, so trying to grind it out. I think that's where part of this comes is like presence. Like if we're around and people see us, they're more likely to want to pick up a title. So pick up the title.
It's way easier to, like when you go to a Comic-Con or you go to a small comic shop. Like I know I've seen on Austin's stuff where you guys actually go out to the comic shop and you can actually talk to the creator of the book you're about to read and actually, feed off the passion, feed off, hey, when you're writing this aspect of the story, like where did that come from, or where were you in this mindset, or why did you write it this way? I think that's such a incredible way to actually, you're talking to the creator, to the writer, to the artist. I think that stuff's, I mean, you can't put a price on stuff like that.
I thought it would be a lot more open, and it's not always like that. You're like kind of in direct competition with some of these people,
right?
And some people are not as kind or open as I thought they'd be. But I mean, it's business, right? I mean, like I get it. Austin has spent time with me, and like talked to me and showed me things, and like Cora Rollier Woods. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but she sat with me and we opened up a comic book and talked about things like gutters. You know what gutters are?
No,
I didn't know.
I say not the things that collect the rainwater off your roof, right?
No, it's the space between the panels.
Oh,
so it's there, but there's actually names for these things, and she's like breaking it down, and it's really cool. Like Austin, the layout for his comic is really good. Like he placed things well, and you know what he said? I asked him, I was like, "Well, how did you learn?" I read a book. I was like, "Oh."
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because like, and not to, Austin, pull your face away. So yeah, like designing like the page layout, like how big do you make the panels? How big do you decide to, because like you have, was it Kirby invented kind of the splash pages, go take up, 2 whole pages. Like when you decide to make that move into it in the story, when you decide to make like the panel just so big versus making it, well, we're just gonna have it this tiny and we're gonna do this.
So Cora and I had an agreement for her to help me, and we were going to do the first 3 pages of Killer Hair, just the opening, the cold open. Mm-hmm. And I'm still writing, and I broke down how I thought it was supposed to be, and she said, "No, you can't do that." And I got really frustrated because I was like, "Oh, I'm not a comic book artist." Right. And she said, "But I am the artist. You need to lay out the panels." So,
So
I mean,
so the writer actually lays out the panels. It's not the artist.
No, it's another person's job.
Oh, okay.
But I don't
Really?
have that person. I don't have that person. So I get to do it.
Right.
So yeah. So she sat with me and like we went over like, okay, you could do this, and I don't have it here, but I actually sketched out what I thought would work, and it's not how I wanted it to be. I wish I would have brought that over, so she's going to do a cover right now, but we established that we need to work on how to make this, because we're going to do Killer Hair together. And like, how are we going to make this work? So it's a lot of learning like that, but I feel like I lost track of your question.
Don't worry, we did too. It's fine.
No, I think you answered it pretty dang well. I went down the rabbit hole here of the Sophia Cox art, and very impressive. So I mean, just great.
Yeah. Well, I realized that I wanted to step in with the big dogs right away. I wanted to step in with these really big artists, and a lot of them, I mean, they're busy. They have their own titles going, and I'm trying to meet people more, I guess, at my level. A lot of these people are tied in and have their. I mean, they'll do a Kickstarter. There's a guy named Brian Polito, I think is his name. He does Lady Death.
Yeah.
His Kickstarters get funded at like 3,000% in the first 24 hours.
Right.
Wow.
So it's like, I'm like, I want to learn from that guy how to do Kickstarter, right?
Right.
I mean, it probably also helps that he has a title for 20 plus years. But
but also, like, I don't know if you guys pay attention to like the Rippaverse and ISOB, where Eric July, he basically, was a YouTuber and musician, but he started his own comic book universe and had $3.5 million in sales because
wow,
it was something different, and it was something that people really wanted to, because I think that's at the heart of this. That's what comic book fans want. They always want something a little bit different, especially when people aren't happy with what the big two are putting out. And I think to be honest, right now the Marvel and DC aren't, they're not doing great. I mean, they're always going to have their fans because they're always push out the the Batman, Superman, X-Men. But as a comic book fan like me, I was like, I'm always looking for something different, and like we were talking earlier in the show, not before the show, during the show. One of the big things for me is art. So that cover that you showed, I was like, I would 100%. I'm like, take my money. Can I get 2, 3? I don't care. So one of the biggest things for me is the cover art, and I can deal with an okay art story and with an okay written story, but I can't deal with bad art. I don't care how good the story is written. I can't deal with bad art. I will not look at bad art. But if you got like great art with an okay story, that's still aces in my book. But that's me, and I know everybody's different.
Yeah, I can chime in a little bit on that. I understand how he feels. I can get used to it while I'm reading it, right? But once I'm out of it, I'm like, but then I like it again. I remember Kelly Jones was the artist for Batman when I was like 12 and 13. I couldn't stand him on the book. It drove me nuts. He always made Batman, every character, long jawed. Nobody looked human. Everybody looked like a. But then I saw his artwork on Sandman, and I was like, oh, I get it now. You know what I mean? And it just was, for that niche, just for my superhero, it's not the way I was used to seeing him. But boy, did he turn Sandman into something special. That's all I got to say about that.
Thanks, Forrest.
You're welcome.
So, but and that, talking about page rates earlier, that's why certain guys, they get those page rates. We were talking last show, Adam.
Well, yeah.
You
have to refresh memory about the page.
We were talking about Yeah.
Oh,
Junkyard Joe. You know, Gary Frank had the unfortunate task of following J. Scott Campbell in Gen 13. And I said no. You know, it's like, you know, coming after a legend, you're like, you know, but you can't, you know,
it was very
you can't
jarring.
expect them to be. Yeah, it was like you go from like you were. I forget the artist you were talking about earlier. J. Scott Campbell might be the most well known for drawing very attractive women when it comes to comic books. And then you have Gary Frank, who's not a bad artist. It was just different, and I rejected it out of hand because it wasn't J. Scott Campbell. You know.
Yeah.
Gary Franco's Down in History is one of my favorites, though. As soon as I saw it, was again another case just like that. I saw what he did on in his Action comic runs when actually Dick Donner from the actual movie and Jeff Johns were writing the DC comic at the same time together. Gary Frank was doing the art, and I went, "Oh, he draws people." You know, like, like that's Christopher Reeve on that page right now. You know, and then if you look at it, you can see the like maybe there were likeness rights at certain points because maybe Margot Kidder was still alive. Oh no, she was still alive. So you can see the resemblance, say there, of Margot Kidder. There's no doubt that was Christopher Reeve, though. So
it's I got to get rolling a little bit, but
okay.
What you were just saying reminded me of this post I think Jim Lee posted about AI art. Have you guys been keeping up with this at all?
A little bit. I haven't. I've only seen certain posts where, you know, certain things will work, certain times it doesn't. But I know it's unfortunately probably the future of comics. Unfortunately, it's gonna have some factor.
Jim Lee had a really interesting thing to say about it, like kind of like it will be a part of how things move ahead, but you know, it was a lengthy post and it was really well written. I don't want to mess it up by trying to say, but what stuck out to me was like he's like, I would actually like to do this as an artist and see if I could make a comic book that I make with, you know, from my head and see what it comes out like, because he was talking about like people copywriting their style of art, because if you go into there and you say Batman Jim Lee high definition 4K ultra realistic, it'll pop out an image, but you used Jim Lee,
right?
So it's like it's kind of interesting, and I mean it might very well do that. It would be fun if we're going to make Killer Hair to take one page and me and the artist and just try to make a page for fun out of AI art and see what comes out.
Right. Well, and it's funny because I do remember. Now that you do bring that up, I do remember that post because they had like four or five different pictures, and that like
yeah,
there was a handful of panels, and you could tell they changed the search radius just a little bit, and then Jim Lee actually, because it was a post of Mr. Freeze, you know, of Mr. Freeze by Jim Lee. And then he actually drew a picture of Mr. Freeze, and it's like you're going to get some very interesting pictures coming out, and they're probably going to be. And I don't mean this to be. It's going to be good enough for comic books. It'll probably be good enough for some fans, but you know, side by side by the Jim Lee Mr. Freeze, I was like, it's still, to me, it's still no comparison. So
yeah.
But it's going to come down to how discerning the future comic book fan's going to be and what their priorities are. So, and getting back to what we were talking about earlier, I realize my priorities in a comic book are not the same as everybody's. But for me, yeah, art's number one for a book.
Yeah.
All right, Nate, how about do me a favor? Can you message Austin if he is if he wants to give a quick if he anything he wants to talk about real quick, and then we can let him go, and then we'll let you go as well, so that we can hopefully feel. Yeah. I feel bad. I feel like people are watching it like we're like banishing Austin. Here's the problem: Austin's trying to go from his phone, so he can't hear us or really communicate, but we can see him. So we're not trying to annex Austin at all. So we want do right by Austin and try and at least let him
Maybe.
talk about any good stuff. So.
Maybe if you can find and that's partially my fault. I forgot we had to use Chrome for this, so maybe he can come back on in the future. And
yeah,
he's a great guy.
So Nate, do you have a person or someone established out here that could go or would want to go to stores and promote Night of the Chihuahuas?
Hold on, are you wearing a black shirt, Adam?
I am.
Are you Black Adam?
You know what? This is what
Black Adam would help me if it was up to him. He would help me.
He would actually. Black Adam has time and is able to set aside at least, very least, if not 2 weekends, per month coming up in the next year to just do mini road trips to local places in northern Indiana and
that's how we've been. That's how we've been doing it. I have a very good friend, Matt. If you're watching, hi Matt. He's from the Navy, and he lives in Virginia. And he went to Annapolis to a place called Third Eye Comics. They have 5 stores in that area, and I have the contact information for the owner. And it's a really, really popular store. The staff there were like oogling over the books, but he left a couple books there. But I mean, that's kind of where we're at, is like grassroots. Like you took us to Liberty. I cannot reach Gail for the life of me. I've tried to get a hold of that dude 7 times, not 7 times, but a handful of times. And I mean, that's if we can get more people, more presence, people are calling, asking for Night of the Chihuahuas at their store, it'll help the whole deal. So,
well, I'm interested in getting involved in it. Nick and I have talked about this. I know you and Nick have talked about some things too. So,
any comic book shop owners watching, I know we got one person watching right now. I don't know if you're a comic book owner or not, but if you know anyone who owns a comic book shop and would love to have Night of Chihuahuas in their stores, get a hold of Nate and he will get them all the books you guys need. So,
also, it's not quite official, but I'll be coming to your store.
Yes,
I'll be coming to your store with some Chihuahuas.
Coming for you.
It's not a threat.
Oh, I threaten to bring good stories.
Mark is part of the other thing. I want to say hi to Mark and Ryan. They're our investors. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Mark.
Mark drives a semi, and for Phoenix Fan Fusion, we had this joke that we wanted to bring a semi and park it in front of the thing and have like 100 Chihuahuas in the back and just let them out into the crowd.
Unleash fury.
That would be great.
Everybody's screaming, ah! Yeah, it would be great. I'd be in jail probably. But it'd be worth it. It would be
totally worth it.
What are we gonna do with all these Chihuahuas?
Great marketing. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Nate, thanks so much. Anytime you want to come on, sir, just let us know and we'll make a spot for you. So.
I would really like to continue to do this with indie artists and if they could come on, because it's validating 100%. To talk about your work. And I'm meeting a lot of great people. And like I said, I'm not in the upper leagues, and I'm happy to be making these relationships with people and just learning. I mean, lots of learning. So,
yeah.
So real quick. If you want to order a copy of Night of Chihuahuas, go to nightofthechihuahuas.com, or Nate, they can probably just hit you up on Instagram, or you guys have Facebook as well, correct?
Yep. There's links to that stuff, and we have new stuff up. I don't know if you want to show that last image really quick. I want to give love to that.
Yeah, I saw this on our Instagram. Hold on while I screenshot it. I'm kidding.
Oh no, this one isn't on Instagram yet.
Yeah, not yet.
No.
So it should be...
Okay, I saw
this one.
I saw something similar. So.
This is supposed to be after The Shining. So we got this image today. It's from Anastasia. Anastasia, thank you so much. This is great. And I want to call it The Chining, but if you put it like CHINING, be like the chinning.
Can you put it like a phonetic way so that no one can misconstrue what you're trying to say there? Yeah.
The chinning.
Yeah.
So, but she This is just a photo day.
there it is.
She said she wanted to scan it in, but it just looks great. We had a little talk about it, and it came out fun. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
If we could make a little bubble that here's Johnny or something. But yeah, I mean that she is her handle is SCI_immortal on Instagram. And she does kind of more spooky stuff, but I mean, this falls right in alignment with kind of on brand for us and right in alignment with what she's doing. So
fantastic. I'll put up Austin's Instagram real quick. Hit him up at Austin Ackert Art on Instagram. I don't know what other social media he has, but I think he's on Facebook as well. So
I don't know. I feel ill-prepared.
That was as much as my research went. So, Nate, can you do me a favor? Can you put up Austin's comic real quick so we can? So, if you're interested in helping out an indie artist, go. You said what? Probably just hit him up in the DMs for a copy of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He's in a few shops in the valley here in Phoenix. It's 88 degrees here. And
here? Or, wait, 37.
37. But I know Austin's in Monster Comics in Tempe, and I don't know where else he's at. I don't want to say if I don't know for sure, but yeah, he goes out and does a lot of shows. He just did a show with a guy named Latique Curry. Latique has his own comic and great artist from the Bronx out here. Yeah, so I'm just trying to plug people.
That's how I say it. That's what we're doing right now. So before you go, I want to make sure we're. But all right, Nate. Thank you so much once again. Anytime you want to come on, and if you have any other creators that want to come on and just talk about, like I said, this is the stuff I love. It's like I said, it's talking about actually from, just an idea to a comic book. I think that's amazing what you guys are doing. And anyway, we can help support you guys. Let us know. And if anybody watching wants to help support any creator, like I said, go to Night of the Chihuahuas or just go support them on Instagram, Facebook. They got a Kickstarter coming out. I'm sure they'll have that all over their social media. That way you can help them out. So go there and you'll keep up with how the Night of the Chihuahuas saga is playing out. So, Nate,
right.
I know. What's the? Do you have like a tentative release date for the next issue? I know you said it's completed.
The idea
best case scenario.
I don't know. We want to release the first Kickstarter for issue 1. We pushed it to December 1st because we need a lead up for marketing. Run that for 30 days, maybe January 15th for 30 days. So somewhere like March. And we should be done with issue 4 by the beginning of March. And we're not releasing these. I don't know if it makes sense. We're not like releasing it to like just get the money and then like just pay for that thing. We're trying to work it and weave it so it actually makes some income. And the thing is to get marketing, because a lot of people go on to Kickstarter to look for comic books.
Right.
So it's also a marketing ploy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people actually have been busted for this because the Rippaverse was so successful. People just started throwing up projects on there to try and get funding with no intention of ever making a comic book.
Yeah.
And I think that's a shame. Anytime you're just taking advantage of comic book fans, that's one of my pet peeves in general. That's why I get usually if I get frustrated and cussing, that's probably one of the reasons. But obviously, you guys are just grinding, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say everything you get from Kickstarters immediately go back into the project to keep the project going. So
we're just here to have fun. It doesn't always feel fun, but we're here to have fun.
It's all about comic books, man. So that's one of the reasons that we do this show. It's one of the reasons. Thank you for coming on, Nate. And shoot Austin a message. Thank you for we'll get it worked out next time for him, but thanks so much for joining, Austin. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Right. Bye, Nick. Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Enjoy the show. I think that you will.
Oh, yeah. All right.
See you, Nate. All right, Adam, we're gonna hang out for a little bit because we're gonna talk a little bit about Black Adam, and then when we'll actually have our review show coming up for that. So, Adam, how was Black Adam?
I'm not peaceful. I don't talk. I liked it, man. Was there some cheese? Yeah, there's a lot of cheese. But it's The Rock. You can't really help that. But he does well with his cheese. Okay. So all week I have died on the sword. Nick, are we good? Are you been very still? Are you frozen? No, you're not frozen. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm good. I'm trying to do technical stuff like that. I'm just
You're like,
trying to get our overlays back up.
oh, I'm just double checking. I was like, oh no, I don't think the mic is on. So
That's my work. When I get in work mode, I freeze.
there is definitely a battleground on this film, and it's not a battleground that's in the film. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things to be excited for, but when you walk into this movie, you see that this movie was reviewed. They said, okay, I like what you're doing here. It's too late to change some things, but we're gonna move forward with this.
Right, you're gonna go solo for just a few seconds. I gotta let the dogs out. So,
all right, he's gonna let the dogs out. Hoot, hoot, hoot. Black Adam. I'm gonna have to catch Nick up on this one, but so there are things. This is gonna be spoiler free. So things that I didn't like about it are not very relevant to the plot. Okay, more relevant to the aesthetic, and I'm gonna leave that right there. As far as like, is this a hero's journey? Kinda, yeah, it is. Does Black Adam, quote unquote, change at the end? In a way that you wouldn't expect, but yes, he does. I was telling the folks at home, though, this movie is a battleground, not just for. We all know that this is supposed to kick off. This is it. This is the beginning of the steering it the right way. Here's why there's still. This is why the movie had a little bit of an uphill battle. Okay, and it was not necessarily in story, but the story, some of it was executed a little. I don't want to say choppy, but the segues really didn't flow. Okay, so 1 minute we're with Black Adam, the next minute we're in the JSA. And it's kind of like, am I in a JSA movie right now? Yeah, I think I'm in a JSA movie right now. But then I get back and I'm reminded that I'm in a Black Adam movie. That's really just kind of a minor quip for me because I didn't mind being in each world. You know what I mean?
right.
There were some choices that the old regime over there made with the aesthetic. They are choices that only those idiots. I'm going to play it like this. There's choices that only came from those idiots. That's it. I understand that Superman and Wonder Woman. I'm going to tell you this off camera, Nick. Okay. I'm going to leave that one there. I understand.
Spoiler-free reviews right now. So.
Yeah. I'm not that much of a dick. It just came out. Well, it's not even officially out. It comes out officially tomorrow. So Black Adam, does it steer the DCEU in the right direction? Yes, it does. Very much so, I believe. The characters were surprisingly... Okay, we all know how I felt about Cyclone going into this. I felt that, the race swap of the character bothered me because there are other female leads or female African American or just black characters that they could choose, right? And I'm like, why did you choose Cyclone? Well, for whatever reasons they did. The actress that played her, and yes, I know the actress is a trans actress, so that doesn't, whatever. She's an actress now.
Yeah. Nope, whatever.
However, man, she kicked ass. She did a really good job, dude. 1, she was very likable. 2, Cyclone is not an idiot, but Cyclone is very bubbly and doesn't care. Like, it does care, but she's a free spirit, which is why her powers are wind. She's a free spirit. I've said it before, she was a stereotypical fair-skinned, white, Irish-looking girl with long red hair. But they kept her costume pretty much the same. She's got the green. They kind of leathered out the green, but they kept the striped socks. The socks that she wears are kind of reminiscent of the Wicked Witch of the West after she got hit with not the West, but the East after she got hit with the house. Yeah. And that's the whole point of her look. She's supposed to have those wickedy witchy powers. She's like officially like the Weather Witch. She was very charming, very likable. Like, I don't know where they're finding these younger females, like what they're doing right. It's like she was Ratcatcher 2 in this. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, the one, yeah, the heart of the movie.
Right. Now, nobody, spoilers here, I'm just going to tell you, nobody put a gun to her head and said, I have to kill you because I'm thorough like Peacemaker. That didn't happen. But if it did, that would make me think twice about watching that guy's show, right?
Yeah.
Even though Peacemaker was good, I was like, I don't know, man. I feel dirty now.
Well, that's my biggest issue with Rings of Power. Like the main character, Galadriel, she's unlikable in several ways, and not like, oh, like they made her that way. Like,
right.
No, just I don't like her. I refuse to root for her.
Yeah. Stop being so charming, I just wanted to say to her in the movie. Yeah. Stop it. She's there. Now here was why this movie is a solid B. And this movie would be an A- had they not done to the world and the aesthetic what they did, which I won't say. But here's why.
Okay, real quick. So it's a B. Now, I know how I feel, like, especially when I just leave a movie. Is this you've calmed down a little bit and like relaxed, or is this still like I'm psyched and it's a B because I like my movie going experience?
Okay, I go to movies to see any old movie, so I was very excited to go to the movies. I've learned to differentiate between the two. I was very excited. I got on the hype train because of the Henry Cavill and all of that stuff. But when I sat down to watch the movie, I watched it very objectively. There was not one point in this movie I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave within 30 minutes of that fucking Halloween movie last week. I really did. It was a piece of garbage. I predicted it all the way to the end. Like, literally, sit me down, give me a crystal ball. I'm a medium. Like, it was a bad movie, Nicholas.
I'm a 2XL.
I'm a 2XL. I don't get it.
You're medium.
Oh, shit!
Sorry,
no, I just dropped the mouse. Hold on.
Wait.
Yeah, we did it.
Almost with comedic timing.
Oh,
anyway, sorry.
All right, so
please go.
So yeah, you get his past. Dr. Fate is awesome. This is what gives it a B. This movie would be an A had.
Sorry, one second. You kind of skimmed over it because one of the biggest things I was looking forward to was Dr. Fate.
Oh, you will not be disappointed.
How is Dr. Fate this movie?
Oh, Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is good.
How good is Pierce Brosnan?
He's very, very good. Very, very good. When can we see this together, man? Tomorrow?
Maybe. No, okay, here's the problem. So I took 2 days off this week, and from all things that I never planned on, my schedule's just probably, honestly, the earliest would be Sunday that we might be able to.
All right. Well, let's talk. But
yeah,
my family wants to go see it on Sunday too. All right, so this is why, and this is not bad. Okay, any Venom fans out there? If you like the movie Venom, all right, this is what this is for you.
Good.
This is for you. This is what I said. This is what the movie suffers from. Same thing Venom did, in my opinion. It looks like it was made in 2006. It looks like it was made in 2000. It seems like it, but it's not. It's already, call it what you want. You can call it a franchise that's had some hiccups. It's definitely not failed because it's still breathing. There was just a little bit of that going on. And that also was a result of the aesthetics. I am telling you the aesthetics when we hang up if you want me to. Like I was planning on telling you.
No, not too deep, but all right. So I have on the banner there. Should you see Black Adam?
Yes. Without a doubt.
Caveats.
Done.
Besides, you already said it's like it kind of looks like 2006, or are you saying because Venom looked like 2006 and
like when I watched Venom, I'm like, this is awesome, but it's very 2006 revolutionary.
right?
Okay, so there's just something a little offbeat about some of the presentation, and that's why it gets the beat. But I think a lot of that is to the detriment of the aesthetic. Like, hey, you know it should be on the wall in the background. I'll say this: Shazam, the movie Shazam, did the aesthetic well. They tried to copy that, and they did not execute it well. So, and I will explain all of that next week.
Yeah. So Adam's giving a recommend for Black Adam.
Oh my God! Highly recommend. Shit, like there are some crazy things that happen.
But also, you text me. I assume you texted me in the middle of the movie. And what did you text me also?
I should have bought all the other figures
because you see Black Adam up there on the shelf, and it's a fantastic looking figure. But it's one of those. Am I going to go buy these toys now because I really like the movie, or is it still going to be like, yeah, they're going to be peg warmers just because I don't think many people are going to enjoy it. But
this movie has convinced me.
The toy line looks fantastic. Like I'm probably going to pick up an Atom Smasher. Like anyway.
Well, here we are. Right, we're talking. We're coming up with a list. We're coming. Well, we're going to come up. We're coming up with a list for this show because we're nearing the end of the year. Okay, and that list is going to be. Whoa! Did you see that? Do you see that?
Yeah. So, okay, we're not gonna show that. So, yeah, that happens. So we're getting spammed. So that's fine. It happens when people watch us.
I just thought we got popular, and all of a sudden we're irresistible.
No, we're just something that happens. So
okay, so what the hell was I saying? Come on, refresh.
So you're working on our budget toy list.
Oh, that's right.
The remainder of the year.
That's right, and this movie affected that toy list.
Okay,
it really did, but it affected it in a way that made me think about it.
Right.
Those toys are probably going to be relatively easy to get in January. So I will get them.
Possibly on clearance. We'll see.
Yeah. I think
that's what we do here. We work off a budget because we're just some dudes.
But this isn't enough. Once you see this movie, this isn't enough because this is the middle outfit.
Right.
So yeah. It's a very do you like action movies?
Yes.
Then you're gonna like this movie. It really it's not. This is not a bad movie under any stretch of the imagination. Oh, so we're doing pops now?
No, not today. Not now.
Just kidding. I'm out. I've only got 7.
Let's wrap. All right, Adam. Let's wrap it up. So we're gonna. Try and do Sunday. So our way to call Tuesday our review show. We're gonna try and make Sunday our review show. So. We'll see how it works, but
I can't make any promises for a Sunday viewing. So if you go see it, are you going to see it with your wife, or do you got to see it alone?
I don't know
because
I already said, "Hey, do you care if I see this? Do you care about this movie?" She's like, "Nah, not really."
All right, so then I'm not going to let you fly the ship alone, there, buddy. I'll go. You can count me in for that. Let me know the time and all that kind of stuff. Family also wants to see it. It all predicated on that. This is fun. You know what? Here's the thing. Have a holly jolly Christmas. Christmas is coming, guys. I mean, it's Halloween season. You know, Samhain for all the pagan fans and all that stuff out there. But it's here. Like, the time to celebrate our lives and the time to celebrate the year, whether it have been good or bad. Celebrate despite any challenges, it's here. You've got a Halloween celebration, we got a Thanksgiving celebration, we got a Christmas celebration, we got a New Year celebration. We got the 4 big bad ones. We got the 4 horsemen of parties. And this is a great way to kick it off. This is a great way to kick that off. Fun, adventure. Yep.
All right, so stay tuned for our review show coming up shortly. Not today, but in the future, near future days. So on that, I just want to say thanks to Nate and Austin for being on the show tonight, talking about indie comics. And just I love talking comics, but I also love the process of like making comic books, and that's why I love having Nate on. If you want to see what we're going to be talking about on the show, check us out on Facebook and Instagram, The Escape with Nick and Adam. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, give us a subscribe if you like what we're doing. But if you don't like what we're doing, let us know what we're doing wrong. So we are on all the major podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and Google Podcasts. And yeah, just give us a like and a subscribe, and possibly download our podcast. So if you like what we're doing, and if you don't like what we're doing, appreciate you guys watching anyway. So Adam, any final words for the people?
Go see Black Adam, Planet Houston.
Simple. Good night, America.